Welcome back to our channel and thank you so much for joining us on the Autistic Edge. I am Terry Ann Malcolm Alleyne. I am here to share with you some tips and tricks of how we navigate through our journey living on the Autistic Edge. Today we'll be looking at 5 benefits of storytelling for children with autism. I grew up with my great grandmother. And let me tell you something, back then she was a lover of storytelling. And guess what? Especially the dopey stories. We used to look forward to these moments with grandma for storytelling. Right, all right. Now, in our culture, storytelling is common in our churches, in our schools, and even in our homes. Because as parents at night, even if your child is not on the spectrum, you'll find that a lot of parents would do storytelling or bedtime story for their children. Our son Alexander is on the spectrum, and we want to share with you how we use the storytelling to help him along. So I'm going to share with you 5 benefits of storytelling. When he was a baby, we used to read story for him, especially at bedtime. His attention span though was very short, so he would not pay attention, he wouldn't listen. It was then I realized that I will have to change my strategy in how I engage him. So what I started doing is to tell the story instead of reading the story. And in telling the story, I used props. So one Sabbath morning, I was well ready with my props and everything to tell him the story of the morning. But needless to say, by the time I began the story, he disappeared. I felt so disappointed because I spent so much effort in putting the material together and was well ready and excited. And by the time I said story time, he disappeared. You should have seen me. Now, I decided that guess what? Even though he disappeared, I was going to tell the story anyway. So, can you believe he didn't go very far? He went into the living area and I was in the dining area. So, what I did, I had the props in my hand and I turned my face to the wall and I started telling the story. So, needless to say, while I was there and I just take a little peek, I realized that he was peeking around to see what I was doing. Even though I did not get him to sit where I wanted him to sit, I was still getting his attention because he was still eager. So he was around the corner peeping, to see what is mommy doing. Mommy is around here telling the story by himself. That's all right. So I stood there, friends, in front of the wall and I started telling the wall the story. And when I realized that he was peeping and he was, garnering a little interest, I started telling the story even more. So I started to articulate and put in my annotations and all of that stuff. And he was there. I said, okay. So you know what was suddenly happening? I started to get his attention. That is what was happening. So even though I didn't get him to sit where I wanted him to sit, he was where he wanted to sit, but at the same time, I was still getting a little attention from him. So I stood in front of the wall and I told the entire story to the wall. You might be laughing, that's fine, because these are some of the things that we have to do while we are living on the autistic edge. So with that being said, I tell you what the storytelling did for us. So benefit number 1 in the storytelling technique is that it helps to create a bond with you and your child. If you're not able to connect with these children, then you won't be able to teach them. So you first will have to connect and create that bond, and then you'll be able to effectively reach them. Now, another thing that it does, it stimulates their imagination. While he was there taking a peek, I was there telling the story in all the glory. What I was able to do there was to kind of stimulate his imagination. I could only imagine that he was trying to think what could be going on with his mother, because he ran away from his mother, but then his mother was still there, standing and telling the story to the wall. All right. Now, another benefit that we garner from storytelling, and that was to improve his attention span. And I tell you what, after that week of telling the story to the wall, I must tell you, even though I was so disappointed, I didn't give up. And that's one of the things I want to say to our parents of children with autism, or even caregivers: never give up. It doesn't matter how difficult it seems, never give up. So each week, I'll tell you that there were a few more weeks that we went through this similar scenario where I build my props, put my stuff together, and then when I'm ready to teach, he is off on a run. Now, one week after I finished telling the story to the wall, of course, he came around and he started touching the little props that I had on the desk. And I realized that it was kind of getting his interest and he was getting his attention. I try to be as creative as possible in how I build the props so that we can have some good interaction. That is whenever I catch him, right? Now, what I realized started happening was that as we go each week, still telling the story to the wall, of course I went a few weeks telling the story to the wall because he would not come. But then after a while, he started playing with the props, because when I finished the storytelling, I would leave them on the table. As I leave those props on the table, he would come around and start looking at them with little interest and all of that. Now, what I realized started happening is, one week, I actually got him to sit around the table. Yes, I got him to sit around the table. And needless to say, he spent probably about 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes into the story, he was out again. Okay, that's fine. We continue to do that week after week, because sometimes if it's not me, my husband will. So we continue to do that week after week. And what we realized was that gradually he started spending more and more time with us at the table. So as we go along, we got improvement in the attention span. Alexander is nonverbal. And one of the benefits that we got from the storytelling is improvement in speech. We have little techniques of how we practice speech in storytelling. I will be sharing with you some of the stories that we have done together. And these benefits that I am sharing with you now, you will see how they came about in the story, or how we benefit from them during the storytelling period. What you'll find, he will spend a lot of time in his own space with a lot of repetitive behavior. So to get him to interact with you, you have to be very creative. So our storytelling exercises each week, another benefit we got from that was building on his social skills. So we find that he started interacting a little bit more, showing some emotions and stuff. Just to put a little recap on 5 of the benefits that we got from the storytelling. 1, it creates a bond with your child. So it helps you to connect and bond with your child. 2, it stimulates his imagination. 3, it improves his attention skills. 4, we also got improvement in speech. And 5, it improves his social skills. In our next video, I will be sharing with you one of the stories that we have done together, and you will see some of these skills coming out in the storytelling. And you will also see how we do the stories, how we put the props together. I will be doing a session later on showing you guys how to actually build some of these, because some of you parents might be saying, boy, I'm not artistic, I don't know how to do this, but there are some simple technique I can help you with in how to build some of these props so you can use it at home so you'll get the full benefit. Thank you so much for joining us in this another episode of Living on the Autistic Edge. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.